What do you know about it? I thought, actually, a bit more than you realise.
Yeah.
And I've sailed this boat 20,000 miles. I'm a master mariner. Navigation is like having scrambled eggs for breakfast. I'm a seaman, a professional seaman. And I know my boat inside out, and I've got a very good idea of what I need in the way of stores. Because after 77 days with three of us,
Yeah.
I knew how much we used. So I was probably better prepared than almost anyone. Only one I would say was equal to me would be Matessier.
Hi guys, and welcome to the Sailing Podcast. Thanks for joining me, Theo Stocker. Today I am very privileged to be with Sir Robin Knox-Johnston CBE aboard your beautiful boat, Suhaili. Thank you very much for having me aboard.
Nice to have you.
Sir Robin, you were the first person to sail solo, non-stop around the world, as is well documented in the Golden Globe race 1968. But you've done a lot of sailing since then. I think if I did a quick summary, and I think at least 4 major circumnavigations, including a 1977 Whitbread, 2006-7 Jules Verne Trophy.
No, 1994, 3 and 4.
That was 1993 and 4. Okay. Velux Five Oceans race.
That was 6 and 7.
That was 2006 and 7. You're also the co-founder of Clipper Ventures and the Clipper Around the World race. And I think the website says that over 7,000 people have now taken part in that race since.
We put it differently. We say 7,000 people have crossed an ocean.
Have crossed an ocean.
At least one.
Yeah.
Some have done the lot, but people vary. Some do legs, some do the whole thing.
That's an enormous number to have done that kind of sailing that wouldn't have done it otherwise.
Well, apart from one gap, we've done it every 2 years for the last 30 years, so we've been at it quite a long time.
That's a huge amount of people sort of brought into the sport of sailing and given a taste of adventure and what the oceans are about.
Well, about 40% have never been on a boat before. They're the easiest to train because they don't have bad habits. But I like everyone to train anyway because then they use the same techniques and the same expressions. So that's 4 weeks of training they all have to do.
Yeah.
But that's a question of safety. But, you know, what's interesting is how many of them don't stop sailing when they get back.
That's the sort of the start for
Yes.
them.
An awful lot will then decide to go and take an IYA exam, explore things further, and perhaps eventually buy a boat. So, yeah, it's a lot of people. Just these days, it's slightly more non-Brits than Brits. But initially, it was mainly British.
Yes.
But that has moved. We've become far more international now.
Yeah, I think there's sort of over 40 nationalities have taken part now.
Well, over the years, it's 60-something.
60 nationalities.
There's 40 in this race.
So it's a really global race.
Has become so, yes.
Yeah. And I'm keen to chat about the new boats that are being built at the moment. We'll come on to those in a little bit, but they're being built in China, I think.
Correct.
So that and you've often had stopovers in China and other parts of the world that a lot of other races haven't visited traditionally, I think.
We've been going to Qingdao now for 20 years. Made some very good friends there, and this is the second fleet we built there. Built another one in Shanghai. So we've got quite a lot of experience of boat building out there. And in fact, we're now setting up sailing schools, and we've set up a production line for the boats we need for the sailing schools. So we're actually building quite a few boats at the moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we come on to the Clipper boats, I just wanted to chat a little bit about Suhaili, if that's okay. When I arrived, you were busy tinkering on deck. What were you fixing?
Well, inevitably, plywood varies in quality, and one of the sides of the cockpit has started to rot. So I decided I'd remove it and replace it. So that's what I've been doing today.
Okay. And how most of the boat is, or the planking's all teak, isn't it?
Yes.
And so it's the superstructure is ply?
No, it's all teak.
So in terms of the plywood, is any of the plywood that's on the boat now original from when you built her?
No, none of it. I think that cockpit was rebuilt about 1966 in Durban. So it's been there a long time. It's done pretty well.
Yeah, it's not a bad life for it. Can you share a little bit about the story about how you came to build Suhaili?
Well, there were three of us working for the company, British India, out east. We used to do 2.5-year contracts. And we got chatting. One had been on the cadetship with me. And we got chatting, and we were watching a dhow go past late night on the Makrang coast, which put a light on at the last minute, which makes it actually quite difficult to avoid them. And we said, wouldn't it be fun to build a dhow and sail it home? End of our contract. So we thought about it, and I wrote to Alan Villiers and said, we've got this idea. He wrote me back a 3-page letter saying, don't do that, because you'll never sell the boat.
There's not a huge market for dhows.
No, not around here. And so he said, go and buy yourself, build yourselves. If you want to build a boat, build something that's got a resale value. So we wrote to a firm in Poole and asked for a set of plans. They sent the wrong ones. They didn't have the right to sell us them anyway.
Okay.
It was Atkins' design from 1923, Eric. However, we looked at the boat and we thought that looks seaworthy. Let's build her instead.
Yes, yeah, so sort of based on Colin Archer lines.
Yes, very much. And he said so on his drawings.
Yeah.
Not the ones we got, but the ones I eventually got from his son were identical, except it said based on, it said William Atkins, secondly based on Colin Archer, yeah.
As a matter of interest, what were the plans that you had ordered in the original boat that you'd wanted to build?
It was a 34-footer, I think. We were looking at building it in Hong Kong, but then we decided we'd build it in Bombay because we're all based there, and it was easier for us to keep tabs on it and get involved.
And so you worked with some local shipwrights as well as doing some of the work yourself?
Correct.
And how long did it take to build? What was the experience of building a boat in Bombay?
Well, it never happens quickly. We missed the first year. When you have to sail with the monsoons across the Arabian Sea, Indian Ocean. And so the other two then dropped out. So I finished her off in Bombay.
So you bought out their shares in the boat, I think. Yeah.
And I was about to go into the Navy, in fact, to serve out in Borneo, but India and Pakistan decided to have a war, and insurance was removed from the boat, which was lying in the main dockyard in Bombay. And so I said, right, the Navy, I'm sorry, I can't come to Borneo. I've got to get my boat out of India while they're fighting the Pakistanis. So recruited my brother and another friend from the company, and we finished her off and sailed her home.
And how long did the voyage home take?
It took, we went up to Muscat, in Oman, then Mombasa, Dar es Salaam, Matwara, Bara, Durban. We ran out of money then, so we all took jobs. It was the wrong season anyway to go around the Cape.
Yeah.
So we all took jobs. I was captain of a small ship belonging to the agents going up and down the coast. My brother went to work for an insurance company, which is what he did here. Heinz went back to sea as a sparky. And then we all met up again as the weather got better and we saved some money, sailed down to East London, Cape Town, and then we thought, been away a long time, let's go non-stop to Gravesend, so we did.
Yeah, and you went all the way up, and that was 100, how many days was that?
77.
77 days, sorry. And up into London?
Up the Thames, which was home waters to a large extent for me, and parked her up at Tower Bridge, and then I took her around to Benfleet in Essex, which I became a member of, first time I ever joined actually, and we parked her in the marshes because I went back to sea.
Okay.
So when I was home, I was trying to sell her.
Yes.
But various people came and looked at her and said, oh, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. I said, well, I'm not knowing my price, so that's it. And I was actually on board the Kenya liner. I was first officer in Royal Docks, and I saw Chichester come up the Thames.
Okay, yeah.
And I thought,
That's after he did solo, but he had a stop in Australia.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I thought that is one thing to be done, go non-stop. And I started thinking about it. I thought, well...
Was that the moment that sort of sowed the seed for you?
Yeah, Chichester did that. And I started thinking about it and planning for it, and I realised, look, this is possible. It may not be possible, but it's worth a try. So I went to the Navy for 5 months, took my master's ticket, and no, that was earlier. I was on a frigate for 5 months, and then I set off. In the meantime, the Sunday Times discovered 4 people were preparing, including myself. Announced I was in their race. I'd never actually entered, but they announced I was in their race. So I thought, oh, okay. Then they said I got to leave 31st of October, I think they said. They were going to start the race. I said...
That was the cut-off for the start?
For the start. And
Yeah.
I said, no way. If I leave in October, November, I will be around Cape Horn at the beginning of winter. That's a pretty crazy thing to do. So I decided to go beginning of June, to get myself to Cape Horn at the right time. January I was aiming for. And 2 others did, John Ridgway and Che Blythe, did the same as me.
Yeah.
We all sailed in the first 2 weeks of June. But we all had small boats. And I don't think the Sunday Times actually understood about the speed of boats, because they assumed we'd all rush around. This boat, well, I averaged 4 knots, that gives you an idea.
Yeah, not fast.
No, no, should not.
By any standards, not even.
But, and the main problem I had was, I was looking for sponsorship, but I was totally unknown in Britain. I'd done all my sailing out east. And when you're on a liner going back and forth to Kenya and further south, it's very hard to chase up sponsorship, especially when you're totally unknown in the sailing world, because anyone interested in sponsoring will ask a friend who's in sailing, and they say, well, who's he?
Well, presumably you weren't part of the Solent yachty scene at all.
Not at all. No, any yachting scene, really.
No.
So when you turn around and say, look, I think I'm going to sail twice as far as anyone's ever sailed before, the immediate reaction was, what do you know about it? I thought, actually, a bit more than you realise.
Yeah.
And I've sailed this boat 20,000 miles. I'm a master mariner. Navigation is like having scrambled eggs for breakfast. I'm a seaman, a professional seaman. And I know my boat inside out, and I've got a very good idea of what I need in the way of stores. Because after 77 days with 3 of us, I knew how much we used. So I was probably better prepared than almost anyone. Only one I would say was equal to me would be Matessier.
Yeah.
But they didn't understand either. They just didn't look at my record. The only person who did was Bernard Hayman at Yachting World, who said the dark horse is Knox-Johnston. But everyone else just dismissed me, so Bernard was proved right.
Did that give you some motivation? Did you find that motivating to think you were going to prove people wrong, or were you just going to do it at whatever they...
I was going to try and do it. I remember a chap from Sunday Times asking me, was I going to beat Chichester? And I said, I don't know. Well, that's not the answer a journalist wants.
No, it's a little...
I'm going to beat that old so-and-so. That's not the way I work. And I said, I don't know. I'll see how I get on. But, if it doesn't work out, I'll pull in somewhere. But if I don't have to pull in, I'm carrying on. Oh, yeah, so he went back and said, don't bother with Knox-Johnston. Back my Aussie mate, Tahiti Bill Howell, who never actually entered. But really, they wrote me off. And, that was no problem. That didn't worry me in the slightest. I did a deal with the Sunday Mirror, who turned out to be really good people to deal with, actually, and still remain friends to this day. And that gave me enough money to get the boat ready to go. I signed a book contract here and in the States, and a magazine in the States, and the Sunday Mirror. And it was a very clever contract, because it only paid as I progressed.
Yeah, so you had to keep on going to get the money.
Get it all.
Yeah.
But I got a start-up, which was enough to get me going.
Yeah.
So I had enough money to buy all the food I needed, get the boat ready, buy a new mast, mizzen mast. I had a lightweight one. If I broke the main, I could leave it into place.
Yeah.
And
what were the masts originally? Were they...
they were cashmere pine.
Okay.
But the first one broke in Durban, and I had the hollow mast made there, very nicely made. That got broken some years afterwards in the Atlantic. We got rolled. But mizzen mast, it's been with me a long time. But it was, I just sat there and planned. I went through everything that might go wrong.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? Now, bear in mind, I was pretty experienced. And only two things I forgot. One was razor blades, and that was a friend who didn't put them on board, so I grew a beard.
Yeah.
And the other was solder, because my radio got wet and packed up. And I was trying to get it to work again. And eventually I realised that my nav lights didn't work anyway. So took the bulb out and used the terminals on the bulb with solder.
Okay.
And that it almost worked. I could start trying to transmit, but it would blow a fuse. But the receiver worked, which was important because I could get time signals.
Yeah.
Was absolutely vital for navigation in those days. Bear in mind, no satellites. So I was totally dependent on picking up a time signal somewhere.
If you didn't get a time signal, were the clocks, the watch that you had on board, accurate enough to have been able to do the navigation, or would you have? What would have happened had you not been able to get that radio working?
Well, I would have. Well, the receiver was always working, but the thing is, you can play around by taking sights. Now, what time is noon? Local time says I want it at 12 o'clock. What, in fact, is it? Well, there's an error, and you can work it back from that. And that's what I would have done. But you rate your chronometers. You realise that they gain or lose depending on the number of factors, temperature being one, an important one. So that made it a bit tricky in the Southern Ocean because I wasn't quite sure what its rate was until I picked up another time signal and found it was a bit out. Because bear in mind, if you're second out, it can be a mile.
Yeah.
You've got to have accurate time.
It's got to be accurate, yeah.
So I'd have found a way of doing it. I'd have played around with noon, said, okay, according to my boat clock, noon was actually 10 to 1. Well, now that's interesting. That's about 14 degrees. So where am I?
Yeah.
And you work it out from that.
Yeah.
Well, 13 degrees.
Yeah.
But you work it out from that.
Yeah, they're skills that not many people probably have on a regular basis.
Well, unless you're a professional navigator, which, of course, every merchant navy officer was.
Yes.
So I was trained the same way as all the others. We're all pretty good at it. And the Navy, it tends to be the navigating branch who would do that.
Yeah.
But we were better trained than the average naval officer.
Yes. Yeah. Presumably you're in the merchant navy, your hours of just being at sea on passage are far greater than the navy because that's where the money is in
Well, that's right. I mean, they want us to get from port to port, and the Navy have a different job. It's not their fault they don't get as much sea time because they're doing shore jobs, they're doing courses and that sort of thing. So it's slightly harder for them to get sea time.
Yeah.
Whereas merchant navy, it was pretty well constant.
Yeah.
The time I joined the frigate, 28, I got 8 years watchkeeping. Now that is experienced watchkeeping.
Yes. Yeah.
And by that time it's becoming instinctive. But the only way to learn to do that properly is to do it. You can read a book, but it's not the same.
No, that's and then once you'd started out on the race and you were on your own and you've got this boat that you've built by yourself, you've filled it full of stores, what was the initial experience of, because there's always a few days of sort of settling into a passage, isn't there, and finding your feet a little bit, or did you already feel like you knew the boat so well it was just you were off and settled in?
Straight away I was just off.
Yeah.
In a way, now I'm away, I've started, just get on with it.
Yeah.
And a lot of things you'll sort out at sea anyway. So no, I was, I just want to get on with it.
Yeah. And obviously it was an unknown whether anybody could complete it.
Correct.
Were there moments that you were unsure yourself during the voyage? Were there challenges or moments that you thought I might need to pull in, or moments of risk where it felt like it might not be possible?
I never felt the need to pull in. On the other hand, after Cape Town, bear in mind I had 6 gales in 10 days off the Cape. Lost myself steering for a bit. That's when the radio started to go. And then I ran into some really bad weather, and she was lying beam on, which she likes to do. And I realised she can't do that. The waves are hitting you like someone's swinging an anvil against the hull.
Yeah.
In fact, when I was doing a refit, we found one of the frames totally cracked, so I replaced it. And that's when I don't know where I got the idea from. I didn't think of it myself, but that's when I decided to put the warps out the back. And she just swung round stern to, and was beautifully comfortable thereafter.
Yeah. Do you think her being a ketch meant that she lay beam on more than she would have done had she been a sloop?
Not necessarily. I don't think so. I don't think that. I think it was. And we would have had some effect, but no, I'm not convinced of it. I think it's more hull shape. It was interesting. The first Golden Globe. I mean, 5 of them got dismasted, and I did a survey of it. And all right, the young girl, she got pitch pole. Which
In the sort of the revival Golden Globe race.
She got pitch pole, which must have been bloody awful.
Yeah.
But the other 4 had all been beam on when they were old and lost their masts.
Yeah.
I thought, you can't do that in the Southern Ocean.
No.
Fortunately, my last 17 pounds before I sailed, I bought a complete coil of 2-inch polyprop, and that was my warp.
Yeah, I noticed you've got 2 large reels up and down there.
That's right. That's today. That's in case it happens again.
Okay, yeah. Are they purely for sort of trailing? They're not. You don't use them as mooring lines or anything. They're just.
No. They're just for trailing.
The big reels for trailing. And ready to go straight out the companionway.
Just pull them off the reel. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Not many boats are set up like that, but I can see that it's.
Well, I've not had to use it since, but then I don't particularly want to.
No, you're not going to be going down to the Southern Ocean and sailing anytime soon.
I should have done in that storm which dismasted us in the Atlantic, but the rope got so tangled I couldn't get it out, and that's when we got rolled. And
Was that with Chris Bonington?
No, that was Greenland.
Oh, okay.
No, it wasn't. No, it was another member of the Little Ship Club and 2 other people. But we wasn't nice.
No.
So we covered 1,400 miles with the spinnaker pole up as the mainmast, the mizzen foot as the luff, and its luff as the foot, so it's loose-footed. That's the only sail we had.
Yeah, so even slower than 4 knots then, presumably?
Well, no, actually we did it at about 4 knots. But then the wind was quite strong and we were going in the right direction. So
yeah, as long as you've got the breeze.
Right.
And then, obviously, I mean, there's the famous storm, the picture, the painting that's been done of you sort of scaling the rigging as the waves sweep through. I think that's sort of one of the iconic moments.
Well, I couldn't get him to realise the waves were a bit bigger than that.
Yeah.
They are, and when we're talking about 30 metres, they're big. And
this boat's 10 metres, so it's...
Yes, but it's fine with the swell, because that's long and even, and you just ride over it. But once you get a gale coming through, the top of the wave can come up vertically, and that's the danger point.
Yeah.
So the warps saved me so many times.
So just before we move on from the Golden Globe, when you look back, are there moments that stand out that were highlights for you that weren't the sort of the big storms or the dramatic moments, but sort of in your memory, is there something that sort of encapsulates the experience of that voyage, of, I don't know, of days at sea where you're just sort of...
Obviously, after leaving Falmouth, I saw briefly the Cape Verdes. The next land I saw was Australia, and I reckon it was 2 miles out. So I went through the Bass Strait. That's where I dropped some stuff off with the pilot vessel at Melbourne, and carried on across the Tasman towards New Zealand, ran into a bit of a storm. I had the receiver on, and I could hear them calling me. And of course I couldn't respond. So I knew in New Zealand they were looking for me. Now it was blowing force 10, and I really I hadn't got a sight because weather was so bad. But I was a bit worried. I was coming down on Stewart Island or the bottom of South Island. In fact, it was the bottom of South Island. I had to beat out of it, which wasn't very easy. But I realised people were looking for me, and I thought I better tell people where I am. So I got round, went up towards Dunedin, and made contact up there. Just say, look, I'm fine. Don't worry about me. What are you going to do? I'm heading on. Got this far. I'm not giving up now.
Yeah.
And that's when I knew I got the lead anyway. And I thought too much to give up.
Yeah. With
But I had no desire to give up, actually, I
No.
have to say.
You enjoyed the process of being at sea and the time of
Oh,
it.
towards the end, I could have happily gone on. I mean, people said to me, Matisse had gone mad. I said, no, he didn't. He was just very comfortable at sea, just as I was.
Yeah.
You become a bit of a sea creature. And you say, well, do I want to go back to all that fuss and palaver?
All the noise and
Well, oh, I'll run out of food in a month and I'll have to do something.
Yeah.
I better go back.
yeah.
And family obviously want to know you were there. The other big thing was Easter Saturday calling up 18 ships off the Azores with an Aldis, that's all I had, signal lamp. And eventually getting a British ship, the 18th one, Mobile Acme, and realising he was reading my signal, the way he was responding. And I just asked him to report me to Lloyd's. And he said, which means received, ETA. I said, he is reading me. I said, 2 weeks. And next morning I switched on the receiver to the BBC, nothing on the news. Saturday night, the Mirror stopped the presses and redid its front page when they got the news.
Yeah.
I finished talking to the Mobile Acme at 7:20. My brother answered the phone at 9:20 to be told I'd been sighted after 4.5 months, no news. And the Mirror stopped the press and changed the front page. And so it was all out on the Sunday, but there was nothing on the BBC. So I thought, oh, well, he didn't report me, or no one's interested, someone else has finished. So, okay, well, I'm going to carry on anyway.
Yeah.
I didn't realise he had reported me, and there was all sorts of things going on of which I knew nothing. But, you know, a couple of weeks later, I'm getting towards Land's End, and I'm now using the boat as the direction finder with a receiver on, because their rigging was acting as an aerial.
Okay, yeah.
So I could swing around and say, there's the Express, there's the Sunday Times, there's my guys.
Yeah.
I'll head there.
Very good. And then you came back, you finished, you won. There was obviously the sad incident with Donald Crowhurst.
Yeah.
And you donated your prize money, not in a significant sum. Are you? I was interested in terms of his family, and did you stay in touch with them? Did you?
Not really. I didn't want to bother them.
No.
You know, there were 4 boys, I think boys. Eldest was 12. Not very nice to go to school and people saying your daddy killed himself. And I wanted it hushed up, but the Times had started trying to raise money for them.
Yeah.
And Lord Goodman was consulted and said, no, you started that, you've got to announce it now. So it had to come out, which must have been very hard for the family.
Yeah, I can imagine.
So, and I really wanted them to avoid that, but it wasn't to be.
Yeah. And then you did you after that did you go back? You went back to sea.
No, I didn't. I was going to go back to sea because I'd made no other plans. You know, got the boat round. Okay, done that. What next? Well, I'll go back to sea. And I think they were planning to put me on the Navassa, which was doing school cruises. But then one of the directors took me out and said, look, McKinsey's had done a report, and all the companies which are part of the P&O group are going to be amalgamated. So you're going to be in P&O. I said, I'm not. So I left the sea then.
Okay.
And went into partnership with some other people, built Mercury Marina on the Hamble, developed St Catherine's, designed Mayflower, built Troon, did odd jobs abroad on marinas. In the meantime, kept sailing when I could.
Yeah. The marinas side interested me because obviously we're sitting in a marina now, we're in Gosport. Marinas are pretty ubiquitous in almost every harbour now. Yeah. But in the 1960s, 70s, that was really when they first started to be built.
They've been built a little bit before. When we built Mercury, it'd be about 72. There were Moody's, Port Hamble, and a few berths at Morgan Giles, and that was it. And I was told I'd never fill it. Well, I filled it in 3 months. And then later on, Hamble Point was built, and also what was the one opposite us?
Universal.
Universal. That developed as well. But it really, I mean, the upshot of all that marina construction meant Hamble became really a very big yachting centre.
Yeah.
Because the boats were there, so it paid businesses to be near them. So it did a lot for the local economy.
Yeah, it's really the epicentre of the marine industry,
Yes, it is.
leisure sailing industry in the UK anyway,
Yes.
at the moment. I guess the fact that it's got a train that connects to London helps.
Yes, that little train that you get on, takes to Southampton.
Yeah.
Hamble Halt.
Yeah. Do you think that marinas have changed the way that we sail and the boats that we sail? Have they shaped it, or do you think has it? Because I feel like, say, yacht cruising is it's obviously much less time at an anchor. It's less time on moorings, and it's much more focused on convenience and comfort on the boat, and you sort of potter along the coast in really great comfort. I was talking to somebody about how you choose destinations based on the quality of the facilities, which seems a little bit slightly backwards way of doing it.
Yes, that's true. But I think, it's 50-something years on, and people have changed. People buy a boat these days and they expect to keep it in a marina. It's the convenience of it, I think. If they haven't got so much money, they could be on a mooring. There's plenty of moorings here and on the Hamble. But then you've got to have somewhere to keep your dinghy. And if it doesn't get stolen, it's there when you want it.
Yeah.
But, some people don't have enough money for a marina, so they'll go on a mooring.
Yeah.
And I think it's important we keep that option open to people. We want to encourage people to sail.
Yeah.
So mooring's great. I mean, when I go cruising, I do an awful lot of anchoring, actually. Quite like that.
Yeah, I think we've always tended to go to anchor and get to the quietest places possible.
Right.
And
yeah, not be bothered.
No. A few years ago, we went down to the Scillies in Alderney, and I think in 3.5 weeks, I think we went into a marina for 2 hours to fill up, long enough to fill up with water. Went alongside the town jetty in Dartmouth once. And
Yes, Dartmouth's got very expensive.
Yes.
Which is a shame, really. But there aren't many places you can anchor there now. There are a few, but
yeah, you have to go a bit further up the river, don't you?
That's right.
And there's some lovely,
beautiful
places.
spot.
Yeah,
just before Ditcham.
Yes,
there's a nice little spot there.
Yeah.
If it's free, it's a nice spot to anchor. It's very quiet.
Just below it's Anchor Stone, isn't
That's
it?
it.
I think.
Yeah, just downriver from.
Yeah, there's a nice little tide lily, and I spent a night there spinning in circles.
Yes, it does do that.
Yeah.
And you don't want to spin too close to the bank because you will go into the mud.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it's pretty soft.
Very
so
soft mud.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So one thing I wanted to ask you about was how you got into sailing, and then talk a little bit about routes into sailing generally. Obviously, there's Clipper, there's RYA training, but sort of what works. But could you just share a little bit about how, because you grew up in London.
Yep.
So where did sailing and a love of the sea come from for you?
Oh, about the age of 8. So my whole life has been dictated by an 8-year-old. But, I was saving up for a little dinghy. For 3 years, I saved every penny I could, earned every penny I could. And by the time I got the money for the dinghy, it had gone up £5, which was an increase of nearly 50%. So I never got my dinghy, so I built a canoe.
What was the dinghy you were trying to buy?
I forget now, it was a little pram.
Yeah.
A little dinghy.
And just to sail it on the Thames?
Yeah, whatever. I think it was £15 in those days. But it had gone up to 20 or something, and I didn't have it. I was 11 and I didn't have the money. So I built a canoe instead, and it got me afloat. I was very happy. But I probably sailed once after that before I joined the Merchant Navy.
Oh, really? So not at all, really?
No. But the Merchant Navy, we were taught to sail, which people didn't realise.
Yeah.
Those days, anyway. And my company took all the crew off one ship and manned it entirely with cadets or apprentices. And they gave us a whaler for leisure purposes, and then later on gave us 2 dinghies, one of which was mine. And where we tied anyone else who took it out. I got quite big by then. But we did a lot of sailing in ports in the whaler, and that's where I learned to sail.
Yeah.
And we had to learn to sail anyway, because those days you had to have a lifeboat certificate, and part of that was showing you could sail a lifeboat. So we were actually professionally taught to sail.
Because you needed it for potentially for survival purposes.
Correct.
Yeah.
You know, ship sinks. What are you going to do? Well, we're going to sail the lifeboats. So we had to. I don't think we learned far more about sailing in the whaler than we did with the lifeboats, which are fairly bulky, heavy old things.
Yeah,
but they'd move.
Yeah,
Well, the whaler was great
Whalers
fun.
are a lot longer and thinner and a bit.
Well, it wasn't longer, but it was certainly thinner and lighter.
Yeah.
Montague whalers, 2,700 weight, but lovely boats to sail. Great fun. You know, crew of 5. In port, nothing else going on. Can we take the whaler away, please, sir?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on then. You launch it. Bring it back up when you're finished and tidy it. Yes.
Yeah.
So we did a lot of sailing.
Bit of freedom and
East African coast is where we were sailing mainly.
really
Great fun.
must be beautiful.
It was lovely in those days. The hotels hadn't arrived,
Yeah.
and wonderful spots. And
Was that straight off the beach then, or out of the harbour, or?
well, we'd lower it from the ship,
Right. Yeah.
and then we just said where we're going. And you tell the officer watch that we're going out there, so he knew where to look for us. And you know, we'll want you back at this time, right? We'll be back at that time. If you weren't, you see, they wouldn't let you out next time. So
Yeah.
we made sure you obeyed that.
Yeah.
But that's where I really learned to sail.
What made you want to join the Merchant Navy? What was the thing that drew you to that?
I was
So you're also involved in the Royal Navy Reserve.
in the RMVR at that time
Yeah.
to make sure my national service be in the Navy.
Okay.
I took the Civil Service Commission's exam, and I think I was in the top 1% in aggregate marks, but I was 1 mark short on physics, so the Navy wouldn't have me. So I joined the Merchant Navy instead, a decision I've never regretted, because I was 5'9" when I joined, and 9 stone 5, and a year later I'm over 6 feet and 11.5 stone, and I can do 70 pull-ups.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't to be tangled with.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful training on the ship. We were the crew. We had to qualify as able seamen. Fabulous training. Came in very handy when you're sailing your boat and things break. And I've never regretted that at all. I feel we had a different... That life has gone now, I'm afraid. You know, the ships go in and out of port so quickly. And they get an awful lot of leave. We didn't get much leave, which meant we'd take our exams quicker because you had to have sea time to take them. So most of us were taking our master's tickets 25, 26. Now it's over 30.
Yeah. Which is young to be in charge of a big.
Well, it's unlikely to be in charge, although I was when I was 26.
You'd be a deck officer then, would
Yes, I was a deck officer.
Yeah.
No, I mean, that was what was expected of us. I mean, that's what we did. Get your master's ticket, right, got that, thank goodness. So now I'm qualified. Doesn't mean I'm going to be given a command.
Yeah.
I'm going back on another ship, and I'm probably going to be maybe chief officer or second, depending on how promotion's going.
Yeah.
But at least you have the certificate.
And do you think how you were trained in the Merchant Navy has an impact on, obviously you've overseen a lot of training, particularly through Clipper. How has the training that you received in the Merchant Navy shaped how you view training other people to take them to sea?
Very, very similar. You know, for a while I was instruction officer on a cadet ship. And that was my first experience of teaching people. Yeah. Very hard, you know. They're late teenagers, very bright, kept asking bloody awkward questions. Not deliberately, you're just thinking, how do I give an answer that makes sense and is simple? It kept me sharp anyway.
Yeah.
But that's when I started training people, not sail to, well, we did because we still had the dinghies and the whaler, but, and I encouraged them to use them or take the lifeboats out if necessary. But it was a very useful experience. I learned a lot about teaching, and then I got involved in Sail Training Association. Toughest job I ever did was raising 11 million for the 2 brigs. That was not an easy job. But that wasn't really teaching sailing so much, it was more character development.
Yeah.
2 weeks on the boat did change people quite noticeably.
What was the challenge of raising that money? Just trying to communicate what it was that you were trying to do, or
getting people to give it to me.
Yeah.
You know, I had a very good cause. the Churchill and the Miller were getting a bit old. We could never tell what surveyors would come up with each refit. So I couldn't budget properly, which makes it very hard running basically a shipping company.
Yeah.
When previous time the chap says, well, next refit you must do this, so you get ready for that, and then new surveyor comes along and says, oh, I want you to do this as well. I said, well, I don't have the money. I'm going to have to get it from somewhere. But it made it very hard to plan. And I thought, no, this isn't the right way to do this. Quite happy to do the work if it's necessary. But we were, they were getting a bit tired, the masts were getting a bit dangerous, and just said, well, I think it's time we built a couple of new ships. So we built the brigs. And my wife got cancer, so I got out. I said, I've got other priorities.
Yeah.
And God, they very quickly got rid of the brigs. They increased the paid staff. We depended very much on volunteers, mainly ex-MN and RN, who had, knowledge.
Yeah.
And they replaced them with paid people, and of course put the costs up astronomically. It was always a knife edge running it. You don't make a lot of money in cell training.
No.
You're trying to keep the price down to encourage people anyway. But when it was, do I allow 80,000 this year or 180,000, that's a big difference. And finding an extra 100,000 at the last minute when the ship's already in dry dock is, oops, I haven't got it.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? The bank are tired of me asking it this every year. All right, I pay it off, but it's, I thought, no, we need you ships.
Yeah.
So we built the brigs. And lovely little ships, actually. Very fun. One is now the sail training ship for Pakistan Navy.
Is it?
Yeah. I don't know what happened to the other one. They're nice little ships.
One of the things I wondered about a little bit is that obviously, in terms of the public understanding of sailing, and it seems that when Chichester and you were doing your first voyages around the world, there was a huge public enthusiasm for it.
Yeah.
And the French seem to appear to have that level of enthusiasm for offshore sailing still. That it feels like a lot of their sailors are much more household names than sailors are in this country.
Well, that's certainly true. You put it down to one person, Eric Tarbely. When he won the Ostine 66, France went mad. He was the big hero, headline of one of their papers, Frenchman supreme on Anglo-Saxon Ocean, that sort of thing. And I knew Eric quite well, actually. I liked him a lot. So I don't hold it against him, but France suddenly became very interested in sailing. And the difference was that the media got really interested in it, which meant a sailor who wanted to go out and build a boat for racing found it much easier to get sponsorship. Whereas here, it was very, very tricky to get sponsorship, very hard indeed. And how many times have I been sponsored in Britain? Very few. I've been sponsored in France a few times. But here it's very, very tricky. And part of the problem is the media. They just do not give sailing the coverage. I mean, in the 1970s, every big paper had a sailing correspondent.
Yeah.
Not one does now.
No, those days have...
They've all gone.
Long gone, yeah.
And so there was always coverage, Admiral's Cup and things got good coverage. So there was a lot of interest. But the BBC never really took to it. I remember doing the breakfast programme once, and a young girl, probably just out of uni, told me, oh, you're coming on at 8:20. I said, fine. You're talking about sailing? I said, that's right. Well, it is elite, isn't it? I said, beg your pardon? She said, well, it's elite, isn't it? Oh, is it like driving? Well, what do you mean? I said, people out there with Rolls Royces, that's elite. So you ever been to a sailing club? Nah, what's that? Buy a boat for 800 quid. Average price of a boat in this country is £1,000 less than the price of a caravan. Oh, is it? But she's parroting what she's heard from those above her.
Yeah.
It's all right for Dimbleby to own a yacht. Oh, that's all right, it's him. But the rest of us, apparently we're elitists. And you think, with 2.8 million boats in the country, how can we be elite? If we're elite, why isn't Britain the richest country in the world?
So what do we need to do to change it? Obviously, it's part of the yachting media and...
Well, I think the yachting media does what it can, but what happens to magazines now? They've all, their circulation's dropped dramatically.
Yeah. Well, we're making podcasts.
Yes, exactly. It's television these days. And very, very hard to get television interested in sailing, mainly because of the cost.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to cover because of the logistics of getting a camera and a crew. And
we can do a lot more now. I mean, on all the clipper boats now, we have cameras, and they're on 8-hour cycles.
Yeah.
So if something comes up, you can download it and record it. And we've got some fabulous stuff as a result. Last year, we had a really good program out, but not on the Beeb or ITV.
Yeah.
And that's our problem. And you've got to get away from this idea that sailing is only for the wealthy. It's not at all. I think the average price of a small boat.
Oh, you can pick up a yacht for. It's not difficult to find one for free because people have got boats that are costing the money that they haven't got time or they're no longer able to maintain. So
a good 30-footer, probably get it for 30 grand.
Yeah, easily.
Not less than a car.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. And the trouble is that story doesn't get out.
No. I mean, a Sadler 29, I used to have a Sadler 29. Yeah. I'd pick up a reasonable one of those for under 10 grand now.
Yeah, and a good little boat.
And it'll take you anywhere you want to go.
Yeah, good little boats too.
Yeah, really good boats.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to see sailing a little bit more mainstream, but...
It's only when we can get it on the television, that's the fact of the matter.
Yeah.
And television just has got blindfolds on. It's elitist, it's expensive. And in a way, we're not helped by the cost of the America's Cup.
But no, because that really is. But then that's the same as Formula One, isn't it? No one says owning a car is elitist because Formula One's expensive.
No, but they do with sailing.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
Yeah.
I have nothing against America's Cup, it's quite fun to watch. But unfortunately, television grabs it and says, it's 100 million.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. You say, yeah, but what's it cost to run a Formula One car? Well, it's different. No, it isn't. As you rightly say, all of us have a car to get around in.
Yeah.
That doesn't cost millions.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that you've done to encourage, as we've already said, a large number of the non-sailing public into sailing is the founding of Clipper Ventures, Clipper Around the World Race. How did that come about? Where did the idea for that come from?
I was in Greenland with Chris Bonington climbing a mountain, and we got chatting as we did. We used to pulk at nights because the ridges over crevasses will take your weight, and you don't want to fall down one of those. So during the day we'd chat, and it was nice and sunny. Wear a t-shirt, and he was telling me what it cost to climb Mount Everest, and I think it was 40-something thousand. I thought, what's the sailing equivalent? Circumnavigation. So literally on the back of an envelope, I sat down and worked out what it would cost me to get hold of a boat, train the people, pay for the clothing, pay for everything going around the world, food and things. So, let's try that with 5 boats. It's about half what it costs to climb Mount Everest then, 30 years ago. So I met William and we put an advert in the paper and got 8,000 answers, and we said, well, now we thought of it, we better do it, because if we don't, someone else will. So
8,000 answers to that first advert.
Yeah.
So there must be a real appetite for people looking for...
Well, unfortunately, most of them, when I interviewed them, said, well, how are you going to pay for this? I said, I'll get the money from Branson or British Airways. I thought, well, I won't see you again.
Yeah.
You're living in hope. I'm sure they all tried, and I think Branson got fed up with had a secretary just to deal with their inquiries. It doesn't work like that. But we got it going. That wasn't the original concept. We were going to join Cornell's race, but he threatened to sue me because I hadn't entered. And I thought, yes. If I walk past Selfridges and don't go and buy anything, they don't sue me. So I wasn't too worried about that.
Okay.
But I thought, well, we obviously can't work together, so we had to set up our own event.
Yeah.
And by that time, we'd started building 8 boats. So I shot round the world and fixed up the stopping points. We got the boats built up in near Chelmsford, and we started the first race 11 months from the advert.
Wow, that's
it was
really
quick.
quick.
It was quick.
And when you placed that first advert, were the boats already ordered and designed at that point? Or?
No, we were about to order.
Okay.
Once we saw the reaction, we better
Yeah.
get some boats ordered.
Yeah.
So we did. No, we were working pretty hard that year.
Yeah, I can imagine. That's quite an enterprise to get off the ground.
Yes. And we weren't helped because everyone said, oh, it's just a copy of Che's Race. It wasn't intended to be that at all.
That was BT Global Challenge,
Yes.
is that right? Which was Westabout.
Yes, it was never meant to be that. It's just, we got, the time I'd fallen out with Cornell, we got the boats building, you know. We're committed now, we've got to get on with this. So we thought, well, we've got to send them around the world, that's what we promised people. So we did. But different to Che. We went Westabout, but through the canal. Quite an interesting route, actually. But anyway, it seemed to work. And having got the boats back, we said, we've got 8 boats, what do we do with them now? Better send them around again, I suppose. So that's what we did.
Yeah.
But we didn't get much support from the yachting press at all, in fact. There were quite snide things coming out, you know. An article about Che's new boats, and someone put in it, well, that'll beat those clipper clunkers. I thought, that's not necessary. And I cut off all ties with that magazine as a result. And that particular journalist, I was about to pay for them to go out to Cuba, cancelled. Don't muck me about, don't like being mucked about.
Well, I hope it wasn't Yachting Monthly, but...
Wasn't Yachting Monthly.
Phew. Good. And then, so that was the first one was the Westabout route.
Yep.
How many times did you do the Westabout route before? Because you now do Eastabout.
4 or 5, you know, I'd have to go back so far to remember. I think with the 60s we always went that way.
Yeah.
And then we built the 68s, and that's when we started going the other way. Or had we the last race with the 60s? I honestly don't remember now. About then.
Yeah. And so in terms of the number of sea miles that people have done, that's a huge amount of collective experience for taking people to sea.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you think you've learned or from about the seamanship of taking relatively inexperienced sailors and taking them around the sea? What have been the challenges, and what do you think has changed? What have you learned in the process?
The ones who don't listen and don't pay attention when you take them out sailing, they're the danger. And it's responsibility of the skipper and mate to keep an eye open for that. And if they're having trouble with someone, I will throw them off because there are dangers themselves and the rest of the crew members, and I won't have it. You know, I'm absolutely focused on safety, and if people aren't prepared to take it as serious as me, well, then you shouldn't be here. It's just part. But I have thrown people off because they just seem to think, oh, I'm going to cross the pond. What's the pond? Oh, the Atlantic. That's not a pond, buddy. I'm going to conquer an ocean, really? Ocean doesn't notice you. You never conquer an ocean. You survive an ocean. You don't conquer it. I hate people who come out with those comments.
A lack of respect for the forces of the elements.
They're the dangerous ones.
Yeah.
You know, you want people to be a little apprehensive when they set off. That's safe.
Yeah.
You know, that doesn't mean you're not going to do it, but you're slightly nervous. Well, that's human. That's to be expected. And I always tell them, you know, when I'm briefing them before they go, a bit of excitement, a bit of apprehension. That's quite healthy. Don't worry about it. You'll find the training will get you through, and your fellow crew members. But just remember, don't be stupid. And I say to the skippers, look, you get a big storm early on, as we did this time, don't race. Cruise. Just get your boat to the destination, arrive in one piece, without anything broken, no crew hurt. And frankly, as far as I'm concerned, you get a big tick. But the one who comes in, and he said, well, I've won, but I've smashed this and this, I'm beginning to think I've recruited the wrong person.
Yeah. You don't want people who are gung-ho.
And they can go as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's been a huge, not so much for the public, but there's been a large number of people who you've trained up or brought on as mates and as skippers who have then gone on into commercial sailing and all sorts of things that have
I encourage them.
the number of people that I meet in the sail training, instructing sort of world who have been through as a clipper as staff at some point is there's a huge number of people out there.
It is, and we shouldn't underestimate it. It's a tough job, being skipper of a boat. You've got managing the crew. You have that balance between being in charge, which they are, and I make that very clear, but realising that these people are paying to be there. And so you can't treat them as your slaves, and if you do, I'll get rid of you, because that's not what they're there for. They're not there to serve you. They're there to learn.
Yeah.
And it's your job to teach them and make sure they're safe. And if you're not going to do that, then I don't want you. And we do make mistakes, and I change people. But it doesn't happen that often, I'm pleased to say. And now, we bring on the mates, and it gives us a year to discover them. And sometimes you'll say, look, I think you've got the potential to be a skipper, but go and get some more experience in the wide world of commercial yachting, and then come back to me.
Yeah.
Because you need to know more. You need to understand what's out there and what it's like. Get yourself a job on a super yacht or something, and see what the rest of the world's like.
Yeah.
Then if you still want to come back, come and talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just amazing that the quality of sailors that I've seen come out of Clipper, particularly as paid staff, is really impressive.
Well, it has to be.
Yeah.
We can't afford not to. But I think, 9 times out of 10, they come back and I'm proud of them. So they've done a good job.
And occasionally you're not, and you do.
Well, I've probably changed them by then anyway.
Now, should we come on to the new boats? Because I've seen some pictures of them, some drawings, and I've seen some photos of some white hulks taking shape in a factory in Qingdao in China. Can you tell me about the new boats, the design, and what's gone into them?
Right, well, we started off round a table. I had my race director and my deputy race director, both of whom had skipped around the world for me. I had my training manager who'd done the clipper race. I had my maintenance manager. I think someone else, but I don't remember who. And I said, right, let's start off by being brutally honest, what's wrong with the 70s? And we made a big list. Okay, there's always things you can improve.
What were some of the things they came up with there?
Access aft, simple little thing. Protection on deck. Where we lay the engine compartment out with all the equipment you have. Where the electric should be. For instance, deckhead, please, if you don't mind. Not in the bilges. And all those little things that aggravate it when you're sailing. I mean, the authorities insist we have totally useless alarms all over the boat, which break down the whole time. God, I'm spending a lot of money with those companies. But they insist we have them. They never
What sort of alarms?
Oh, gas alarms and such like.
Okay, yeah.
Heat alarms. They never work long, but they insist we have them. Ticks a box for them.
Okay.
Doesn't tick a box for me because they don't work long. But so we settled down. We went through everything. Could we make the foredeck slightly wider at the bow? Yes. Could we drop the forestick back a touch to make it easy to get around the front of it? Yes. So we made a big long list. Then we went to the naval architects and said, here's what we're looking for.
And that was Nigel Irons in this case?
He did the lines drawing.
Yeah.
It's this other firm in Hampshire. And we settled down around the table with them. And we spent quite a lot of time with them because they produced their initial thinking. We'd go through that and say, no, we can't do that, we can't do this, can we do this? And that takes time, you're working together on that. We've got the seagoing experience. Well, Nigel does too, actually, but Nigel's really focused on the lines.
Yeah.
And frankly, I do like the look of them.
They do look very good. So just to describe them, I think, so they're fuller at the bow, which is...
Slightly fuller at the bow, yes.
Which is quite common these days. That's where
It is.
design's gone.
Yep.
And that helps lift the bow slightly.
Extra buoyancy at the bow.
Yeah.
They won't crash into the water so much.
Yeah. And that also helps keep the rudders fully submerged.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
And slightly drier as well.
Should be. Transom hung rudders, much easier to repair.
Yeah, and they've got fuses in then,
Yeah.
don't they? So if you hit something, they kick up
That's
rather
right.
than doing any
Put another one
more
in.
significant damage.
We don't know exactly. We've got some calculations on what the fuse should be, but we won't know till we take it out and find out.
And you have to go and practice hitting some things.
Well, I don't want to practice hitting things, but I think we'll find out anyway. If you hit something, you want the fuse to break.
Yeah.
Well, I want to know if it'll take the high speeds these boats do occasionally.
Yeah.
You know,
So what's the prediction of how fast they'll be able to go?
well, we just don't know. I mean, the 70s was good wind. I mean, we're looking at speeds of 10 or 11 knots day in, day out. Will these be faster? We don't know till we get the boat and try it. Normally, 8 knots would be a good average for what they can do. I leave it to the race director now.
Yeah.
You know, he's skippered around the world. He's been doing this a while. He doesn't normally get it very far wrong.
Yeah. So they're big, powerful boats, aren't they?
I think they're going to be powerful. Yeah, and we'll see. We'll see when we get it.
Yeah.
And we take it out and start playing with it.
And just in terms of the other design features that I noticed, so you mentioned protection on deck.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 sets of solid sort of cuddies.
Cuddies, correct. Well, we looked in the past. The 70s slightly based on what was fashionable for around the world races at the time, like mocha boats, for instance, back in the 60s. But I said, yeah, well, hang on. Let's build a boat that's entirely suited to what we do with our crews. And how do we make these boats better for them? Now, it's quite interesting. We deliberately laid the boat open to the crews in Qingdao. We brought it down on the quay and we took them round, and Deputy Race Director showed them round, showed what we'd done. And all coming, oh, so pleased to see that, so pleased to see that, so pleased, we've done this. We thought, well, we got some of it right. We hope we got it all right, but you'll never get it all right, but when you get most of it right, we won't be doing badly.
Yeah. And the main sheet's now also on top of one of the cuddies.
Correct.
Because obviously, I mean, we've done stuff on jibing, and on any boat, one of the main hazards on deck is the main sheet.
It is.
So
much so.
presumably taking it up out of above head height.
It should be. It should be better.
Yeah.
And that's the thinking behind. Well, we had to put the main sheet somewhere, so we thought top of the cuddy. Why not? It's convenient, easy to see and get at.
But it's still got enough width that you've got a traveller that you can
That's
adjust.
right. I mean, it's not coming across at foot level.
Yeah.
Which so it's quite a lot better in that respect.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of little things have gone into this. That, there's an access right aft, which we didn't have on the 70s or on the 68s. So there's 2 ways to get below. There's one right aft, where the skipper's cabin is, and the navigation area is.
Yeah.
So he's straight up on deck if he needs to be.
And is that specifically for the skipper to give him better access and understanding?
And better communication with the navigation area. Yep. It deliberately did that.
Yeah.
It was quite deliberate. I forget who came up with it, Mark or Dale. But they both said,
That makes a lot of sense.
It does.
Yeah.
And, if you've got a good team, listen to them. No one person has a monopoly of good ideas.
Yeah.
And they've worked with me for an awful long time.
Yeah.
So, and then I gave the maintenance department, I said, the area you've got for the engine, generator, water makers and everything is this. So you design it. So they painted out that in the workshop.
Yeah.
Played with it. Oh, it was brilliant.
Yeah. It's quite a creative process then, putting these boats together.
Oh, yeah. And someone said, gosh, you're very generous. I said, no, I'm not. I'm cunning. They said, why? I said, well, if they find difficulty maintaining that equipment, I can say, well, you designed it. But actually, we were looking at it in Qingdao. We're pretty happy with where it's gone.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of changes, but this boat is specifically for what we do. We're taking amateurs, initially relatively inexperienced amateurs, all the way around the world.
Increasingly experienced amateurs.
Well,
as they go.
I mean, they're in Seattle at the moment.
Yeah.
I mean, they're getting pretty damn. The around the worlders now
Yeah.
are really good, and they mentor the other ones.
Yeah.
And they come on to do the legs.
a little bit of work to do on their marine manoeuvring skills. Presumably, they're not spending a lot of time doing that sort of stuff,
Well,
but the actual
no, they're not,
sea
and
battles.
that's not what we need.
No.
The discussion I had with the RYA, they said, well, it's not the equivalent to a yachtmaster offshore or even coastal because you don't do the manoeuvring in and out of port. I said, no, we don't need to. I'm much more concerned with getting them safe on deck and learning what goes on. It's 4 weeks. Think about it. It seems a long time. It isn't.
No, that is not long at all.
It isn't. And to get these people really safe to go to sea, I'm not going to waste time on something they're not going to be doing.
Yeah. Do you do drills and training as you're going as well? So presumably they're practicing things like man overboard.
Start of every leg, we do man overboard.
Okay.
And when they complain about it, I say, listen, you're always going to do that. Remind you not to fall overside in the first place.
Yeah, it's not a fun experience.
After the RNLI, we were the first people to fit dummies for man overboard drill.
Do you take those on the boat?
They're on the boats the whole time.
Yeah.
And they weigh 75 kilos when they're full of water.
Yeah.
That tells you what it's like to recover someone. We developed our own method of recovery, which I passed on to the Cruising Club of America and
Is
the
that
Storm
with
Tricycle Club.
the swimmer?
We call him a swimmer. He isn't. He's on a halyard.
Yeah.
And we don't let go of him. But we have a special life jacket for that person. It doesn't inflate automatically because that gets in your way.
Yeah.
And we developed a hook. So he goes in on a halyard with another halyard, and all our life jackets have a becket on them.
Yeah.
And he just shoves that in the becket. Heave.
And then you've got enough manpower to just...
All hands will be on deck by then,
Yeah.
straight up.
Yeah.
And get them on board as soon as you can. They're going to get hypothermia, or goodness knows what, out of the water. They're stop worrying once they're back on deck.
Yeah.
And the swimmer's then recovered. We call him a swimmer, as I say, he isn't.
Yeah.
He has a special dry suit.
The dangler sounds...
The dangler is probably a better way of describing it. He is certainly dangling, but we practice it before the start of every leg of the race. And apart from the fact, when they're out training, they'll do it probably 2-3 times a week.
Yeah.
And when we've had people go overside, it's very interesting listening to the crews afterwards. You know, what was that? Joe, it was amazing. No one shouted. We all knew what to do. I said, that's exactly what I wanted to hear.
Yeah, doing those drills and practicing is so
became
important.
muscle memory. It was brilliant. I was just the answer I wanted.
Yeah. So those boats are going to come into service
For the next race.
for the next race, which will be starting in
August 27.
August 27. Okay. Well,
We're training now. I've got a part one training out to the moment.
okay. Well, maybe we could come and have a look at the boats, come for a little sail on them when the new boats arrive.
Once we've tuned it.
Yes, it'll need a little bit of commissioning and
We need to take it out and play with it.
Yeah.
And work out how it's, I always remember when we got the 60s, they'd shooting up into the wind and Spud spinning, and I said, let's pull the mast back a bit. So we did, stop that problem.
Yeah.
The 70s had a problem, they do the same. And then we discovered that the rudders need to be towed in slightly. And that stopped that problem.
Yeah.
And we got the designers down, went through this. This isn't acceptable. What do we do? Oh, you do this. Okay, let's try it. Oh, yeah, that works. Good. Okay, thank you. Good.
Yeah.
There's all
That's
these
the same
little
for
things.
any new design, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's always going to be like that.
Exactly. And we'll want to get the design team out with us, take the boat out and go and play with it.
Yeah.
See how she balances.
And do you get out sailing much on with the Clipper guys? Are you going round to any of the stopovers?
Yes, I was in Qingdao and South Korea.
Okay.
I don't race on the boats, and there's a very good reason for that, because were I to win, people might say it wasn't fair. One thing is for certain, if I didn't win, they'd say I was no good.
Yeah.
So I don't risk it.
Too much reputational risk.
You got it.
One thing I wanted to ask you about is that you've sailed with some amazing, or against with some amazing sailors in your lifetime. You've sailed with Peter Blake.
Yes.
You've been inspired by Chichester.
Yeah.
I think you helped inspire Bill Pinkney, who was the first black
Bill,
sailor to sail around
yes.
the world.
Yes, I
via
went
the
to,
Great Capes.
went to Chicago to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You did well.
Are there who are the people for you who've inspired you along the way?
You've got to go back a bit.
Okay.
I mean, if you say who inspired me, Drake.
What was it about him that inspired you?
Humble background, captain by the time he was 20, self-made, very determined, totally ruthless, sort of person I like. Cook, brilliant navigator, started life in the Merchant Navy, brilliant navigator. His charts are coming in amazingly accurate 300 years later.
Are they?
Now we've got satellites. And Nelson inspires me from a military leader, if you like. Very clever, Nelson. An absolute genius, actually. Some of the tactics he used were very clever. They were obvious afterwards,
Yeah.
but he came up with them. And he was very good about saying, you know, Trafalgar, the tactic he used, he said, well, I copied that from Duncan at Camperdown. He did the same. Get between the Dutch and the coast, because they were shell of a draft.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to escape. That was Duncan. And Nelson was always firstly prepared to give credit. He always said, no, Duncan gave me that idea 10 years ago. So it's interesting.
Yeah.
In sailing terms, well, obviously, I did a lot with Peter. Very good seaman, and a good leader, Peter. Very good organiser. You don't win the America's Cup twice if you're not.
No.
But I first met him in the Cape Rio race in '71. Picked him out as a watch leader. When did we sail again? Whitbread. Then we did Enza together.
Yeah. That was the Jules Verne.
Yeah.
So there were 2 attempts on that, weren't there? You
Yeah.
tried once and then you came back.
Well, we hit something.
Yeah.
We held the hull down in the Southern Ocean, so we had to turn back.
And then you made the boat longer.
Well, David Allen Williams did all that. He redesigned the hull. Talking to Nigel, who designed the boat in the first place, but she was certainly a lot more slippery. We also changed the mast from aluminium to carbon fibre,
Okay, which will make a big difference.
and I think Nigel said it's the equivalent, with all the stainless rigging, of removing a Mini from 35 feet above the deck, and it certainly felt it.
Wow.
She was
That's
much
a huge, big difference.
huge. It didn't pitch as much, more stable. She was a good boat, that. But you know, I've sailed with all. I've sailed with Chris Bonington. Bernard Gallet is a particular buddy of mine. Now runs a big brokerage in the south of France. He first sailed with me in '82. Sailed with me last year to Greenland. We're still very close friends.
Yeah. And that's in your... Because you've got another boat, don't you? The Far.
Yeah.
54, did you say?
56, yeah.
56.
Yep. That's the one I use for long trips these days because it's quicker.
Yeah. And a little bit more comfortable. Not to be rude to
Yes.
Suhaili, but
No.
a few more creature comforts.
Yes. On the other hand, more to go wrong.
Yeah.
So
Lots
much
of systems.
electronics these days.
Yeah.
I mean, what have I got on Suhaili? There's a VHF up there. The DF doesn't work.
Parallel rules are fairly
There's a
robust.
parallel rule. I've got AIS and an echo sounder.
Yeah.
That's it.
And a stove.
Yeah,
Is that a diesel stove?
No, it's not. It works on charcoal.
Ah,
It's actually quite good.
keeps it nice and warm.
Yeah, it does. It works. It doesn't keep it boiling, but it just keeps the chill up.
So have you got sailing plans for this year?
I'll probably sail up to Oban to meet the Clipper fleet. Just sorting the crew for that out. I may well take Suhaili over to Le Sable for the GGR.
Yes. Yeah.
I've got 2 crew already. All of us are master mariners. One was second officer on the Kenya when I was first, back in '67. So we go. He's probably the most experienced square rig skipper out there. He commissioned Endeavour, sailed over 2 years. Chris. And Mike Vlasto. Poor chap was in P&O. But he was operations director for the Army Life for 16 years. We've known each other for 40 years. So these are 2 very old, trusted friends.
Yeah.
So that we take 1 more. We said we'd take 4. I'm not sure who will come. David will come with me to Oban. He's already said so. Andrew sails with me a lot. He'll probably come. I've got an American coming over who sailed up that way with me before. You see, you know, this boat, 4's really comfortable max. Sanjula,
So you've got 2 berths. Well, you've got 4 berths in the saloon.
Yes, well, I've got the
technically,
forecastle as well.
Yeah.
But, you know, if you're sailing, you only need 3 bunks anyway for the 4 of you. San Jura, I can sleep 7 or 8. But normally we're going around. I mean, coming back from Reykjavik, just 3 of us brought about, David, Dilip and myself, till we got to Oban and others joined.
And is Dilip Donde the first Indian to circumnavigate sail around?
Yes, he stopped, but he was the first in. And I helped the Indian Navy with the project, which is how we got to know. He came and helped me before I did the Vidocs.
Yeah.
So our friendship goes back 20 years.
Yeah.
And I went out and stayed with him 3 weeks last year. A marvellous bloody time. It's great.
In India?
Yeah, my Hindi starts coming back if I get out there long enough. So I used to be fluent.
You were out there long enough with the Merchant Navy too?
Well, we had Indian crew.
Yeah, okay.
And of course, building Suhaili, I'm working with shipwrights, so my Hindi got very proficient then.
Yeah.
But it's a bit rusty now.
Yeah.
So I quite like going out there and practicing.
Yeah.
Trouble with Dilip, he keeps speaking English.
Just talking about your time in the Merchant Navy, there was one thing I wanted to ask you, because I'd noticed that there was a period that felt a little bit sort of topical at the moment when you were doing the line from was it up to Basra?
Yeah.
In southern Iraq.
Yeah.
And that was that from Bombay?
I was from Bombay.
Bombay to Basra. And I think there's a bit of a terrorist campaign going on at the time, wasn't there? There were some bombings on the ships.
Yeah, we did. We lost a ship, 238 killed. Air travel hadn't come in. We ran 4 ships, one sailed from Bombay every week, all doing the same run. Mm-hmm. And we were taking the people from India and Pakistan up to go and work in the Gulf. Mm-hmm. And we were a cheap way of doing it. They'd camp on deck, they could buy food from the Vishawala, or they could cook. We didn't like them cooking because of fire risk, so we were rather cautious about that. But you got bloody good meals too. Curries, they were so good. And so I was on the Dorka to start with. We had 4 Ds, Dorka, Damra, Dara, Duressa. Then Dara got blown up that first year, and said 238 killed. That was communists attacking us because we were supporting Oman.
Okay.
We had a bomb 3 months later, fortunately on deck, although we were beginning to take serious precautions. And most of the explosion went up. We had one poor lady got slightly burned, but the doc fixed that. And then I had a charmed life because I joined a ship that had a bomb, and I left a ship and it got one. I was surprised more people didn't follow me around. We had quite a few bombs going off, and eventually we hired these ex-Palestine policemen. They were hard nuts. They were great fun, but some of their stories, bloody hell. And they didn't have truck with anyone.
Yeah.
Bloody hard blokes. But great fun.
Yeah.
And they took over security from us. I mean, we're 21 and we're trying to be security officers. We haven't a clue. I mean, we can keep a lookout and look at things, but otherwise, no.
Yeah.
But it was a different world. You know, it's, occasionally people would get a bit stroppy and sometimes violent. Well, you didn't ask questions, you dealt with it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue about it. I might tell the mate.
Yeah.
I've just punched one of the passengers. Why? Well, he's throwing a punch at me. Oh, okay. Different world.
Yeah. Do you miss those times of being at sea?
Well, they're not there now, so
No,
you can't go back to them.
Yeah.
It's all air travel these days.
Yeah.
And I think the Dorka eventually went to the scrap in '82, mainly because you couldn't get spares for it any longer. You know, with engines were the old Oxfords, and no one was making the bits. So
No.
but she lasted nearly 40 years.
Yeah. A decent life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally, then, we're probably nearly up on time, but obviously you're going up to Oban this year, but you've done a number of sort of fairly big races. You did I was thinking about the Velux 5 Oceans you did when you were 68. You did the Route de Rhum when you were 75.
And earlier, I've done it twice.
Did it twice.
Yeah. And I first 82, I think.
You came third when you did it in 2014.
Yeah, and I decided that's not good enough. It was very disappointing.
Yeah. You could,
I ran out of arena. I was closing in, but it was too late.
yeah. So, have you got plans for any other big adventures?
No races as such, you know. I occasionally pot. I mean, I spent last Saturday racing around the Isle of Wight with 3 other full boats from all manned by Little Ship Club members.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Great fun.
And Mike Golding, I
Mike
think,
Golding was out there
yeah.
as well. Yeah, no, it was great fun. We had a lot of fun, and very interesting watching these young people. You know, so, you know, the wind was stronger than we expected south of the island. But they say, let's watch the boat, see how well it's handling it. Don't be worried.
Yeah.
It'll take it. And you're building up the confidence, which is the best way of teaching people. So yeah, no, I'll certainly go to Oban. I'm not sure. I might just look at the Cape Verdes next winter.
Okay. Yeah.
I like diving, and the water will be warmer.
Yeah. They're beautiful.
Oh, I believe so.
Absolutely beautiful.
Never been there. Seen it, but never been
Yeah.
there.
I've had a few days there.
Oh, yeah?
It was when I did a transatlantic, we stopped, but
I thought I might just sail down there next winter.
Yeah.
Take the big boat. And,
yeah.
I've got just sorting out crew. You know, I'm not definite yet, but very interesting. I was in Venice recently. My book was being republished in Italy, and quite much. I gave a talk at the local yacht club in Venice. Lovely place, and I met this chap called Catamosta. Now he'd done programs on our television with people, you know, one of our great dames. Forget which one, you know, actresses. And he said, yes, my ancestor discovered the Cape Verdes. I said, really? 1458. So I said, he wrote a book. He got very good notes.
Yeah.
We ought to go and follow his notes and sail down there.
That would be fun, wouldn't
Francesca might join me, so it'll be quite
Yeah.
fun. I think he's trying to get television interested. I said, well, that's up to you. And I'm probably going to go anyway.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, that sounds like a great adventure.
yeah, bit of fun. Spent a month in the warmth, doing a bit of diving.
Yeah. And plans with Suhaili?
Take her over to La Saab for the start of the GGR, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
There's 3 of us so far, will be 4.
Any more refits on the horizon, or is she doing all right?
No, she doesn't need a refit. Just routine maintenance, really.
Just keeping her ticking along.
Give her a haul out, clean her up,
Yeah.
do a bit of caulking up for it. There's a bit of a seat there. Nothing serious. I think so. Mike's coming down to give me a hand with the haul out, and by that time I'll have finished the bright work. Because I was varnishing this morning.
Yeah.
Beautiful drying.
Yeah, no, good day for it.
Beautiful.
Sorry, I've got in the way of your varnishing.
No, you haven't. I've done it. I've done
Good.
it. You don't want to put 2 coats on it, so this is harden up.
Yeah.
A mate on a ship, in my time, you used to maintain the ship.
Yeah.
You learn all sorts of tricks. The cadet ship, we had a wonderful bosun from New Zealand Steam. God, he taught us our seamanship. Brilliant guy. Bertie. Strong as a bloody hell. I watched him once pick up a 45-gallon drum full of tar, just lift it onto a hatch. We didn't argue with him. Lovely guy.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Good. Well, Sir Robin, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure to talk to you and to hear some of the stories and some of your experiences at sea. And it's exciting to see these new Clipper RX boats coming together as well. It'll be, I'd love to come and have a look when they're in a state where you're happy to show them off.
I'm sure we can sort that out.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Right, guys, that's all we've got time for today. I hope you've enjoyed that. If you have, give it a thumbs up, share, subscribe, all of that good stuff. And we will see you next time on the Sailing Podcast.